Welcome, everyone. This is Finally Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And please welcome with us we have Endang
Hey, everybody.
and Terry Adwin.
Hey, hey!
And we may occasionally get a visit from Maven, who is apparently escorting some chickens.
That's what I heard, yeah.
All right, then let's head. Let's head into game news then. And the first story we have this week is that Turbine is revising the story on a character's death that happens in the epic storyline, late in the epic storyline, the most recent entry, in fact, due to some player feedback on it not being satisfactory enough for them.
That's
So
right,
spoiler
Piney.
alert.
Made of Lions actually recently posted on the forums about what you just said, and he said the following, and I am going to leave out the character name, but, well, actually, we'll go ahead and give a spoiler alert, because now that I'm rereading through this, I think we should give one.
Okay.
So, Update 18, Epic Story, spoiler alert. This is a revision of the character. If you don't want to hear this, skip ahead a minute or two, and you should be fine. But, Maid of Lions does say, I think this is one of those cases where an idea worked reasonably well on the page, but maybe didn't translate as well into the game. For the next update, Hal won't come across as quite so much of a laughing sociopath. Aragorn won't be standing idly by while the action happens, and Gothmog won't be attacking Hal to get him to stop laughing. He'll be attacking Aragorn in order to finish things once and for all. I think the new version probably works better, even if the underlying story isn't really that different. Well, I would argue that this is a huge change in the story,
Yeah.
and this is fantastic because that was an emotional disconnect in the story, I felt like, and
Right.
it was like the only thing that didn't really flow well as part of that update. That update was amazing. This most recent chapter of the epic story was fantastic, and yet this one part was like the tiny little thorn sticking in the side of just this amazing story. So I'm glad that they're
Right.
actually listening to player feedback and looking into changing it.
So therefore, it's going to be a full-fledged heroic death, I presume. Then
We'll have to wait and
It's-
see, finally.
we will find out, but that is what I get from what. But I think that people are starting to come back from the spoiler alert. So let's head into the update 18.2.4 patch notes. And did anything interesting change?
Well, most interesting for me, anyway, is under skills, it says the Rune Keeper's Essay of Exaltation now targets up to 15 players to prevent possible crashes. For people who don't understand what this is about, this is basically the skill that they were dropping during Weatherstock that was making people crash because it didn't have a target limit and it was a ground targeted bubble. So if you targeted the crowd on top of Weatherstock, it tried to bubble everybody. Which was
500 people.
Which yeah,
At least.
you've got like 500 people clustered in an area and it's bubbling everybody. So they put a limit on it. It's still a ground targeted bubble, but now it targets at most 15 people.
Which is
This-
sounds even high for me, but okay, I guess we could accept that.
Well, I mean, it's Rune Keepers are overpowered. We know this.
Okay.
They're supposed to be more overpowered healing wise than minstrels are. We know this. The trade off is that almost everything they do comes with inductions. If in Blue Line, most of the really powerful heals have inductions, so they're not great for using in the moors because you can't really stand around and do that stuff in the moors. However, probably this skill, I would imagine, may have seen some use in the moors and may have caused some lag in the moors because you could bubble more than 15 people if there was a group. You could potentially bubble your whole raid. Can't do that anymore. And you guys can thank the Rune Keeper who decided to drop it at Weatherstock with a GM in attendance.
Crazy.
I'm actually glad they did it at Weather, if that is how they noticed this, because this needed to be changed way before now, and I'm glad that it's finally being changed because it's just something that not having a limit on a graphic intensive item like that just seems completely ridiculous to me, and so I'm glad that they're finally putting a limit on that, and it seems like a reasonable limit so that Rune Keepers shouldn't be too upset by it.
Oh, I'm sure there's some Rue Keeper complaining.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
the
probably.
one
And if they are, they can point at the guy who decided to drop it on Weatherstock with a GM in attendance.
Exactly.
Yes. I mean,
This is why we can't have nice things, people. It's because you have a couple of people who ruin it for everybody else.
oh yeah, there are a number of nice things that we've had that. Sorry, we can't do this anymore because somebody did something really stupid with it.
Yep.
Anything else here that anyone found interesting?
I think that's the main stuff. There was a mustering horn that was added to the new version of Minas Tirith, but other than
Which is
that,
cool.
not yeah, that's a nice quality of life thing. But other than that, nothing really stood out to me.
Oh, whom do you need the friend standing with to on the muster to after battle Minas Tirith, I wonder?
Good question, Piney. I think it's the original Minas Tirith people because when you go into the after the battle, I think you have to have kindred with them in order to unlock all the additional quests that are the essentially. I'm trying to think of what the
So you
Heightwold type
probably need
quests.
the next 2 tiers of rep before you can get the after battle muster.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
if you go through all
it's-
the quests, you'll probably already have it by the time you get to after battle anyway. So,
well, yeah, since I don't have kindred, so I've never unlocked after battle, but I probably have friends.
well,
so I
actually,
could
after
pick that up.
battle just requires you to finish the epic story. The quests in after battle require you to have kindred.
Oh yeah, I've been to after battle. I just get no quest rings because I'm
Right.
not-
I was just wanting to make sure that the chat room knows that because
Okay.
I figured that out this week, which we'll get to later in the show.
All right, and anything else we need to add before we head on?
Nope.
Then let's see what's on sale this week. Terry, anything interesting on sale?
Yeah, actually, speaking of Rune Keepers, but before I get to that, this week's free sample, August 29th through September 1st, is a plus 10% run speed boost times 5 for 90 minutes. Use coupon code RUNFORIT, with the 4 being the number 4, one time per account, which I thought was pretty clever. Also, we have 25% off the Bjorning class, the Rune Keeper class, the Warden class, character slots, and Slayer Deed accelerators. Also, for a limited time, August 26th through September 1st, 25% off Region Pack for Art and Orion. So still on
Wow,
sale through
awesome.
Thursday.
And Lucha Players News is brought to us by the Kegger Games. So let's give a hand to Kegger for sponsoring us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if I can find it here, I actually have an ad to read out on the show.
Ooh.
Yes, finally. And I'm actually going to be reading last week's as well because we didn't do that one either.
Oh.
Because we had them on, I figured we didn't need an ad, a full-length ad as
Yeah,
well.
we had. All right. Well, while you are waiting for that, I should announce that the last days to register for the Kegger Games 5 are now at hand. And when is the last day of registration?
September 2nd.
September 2nd. Yes, so they are coming down close. That is
Next Friday.
next Friday.
Well, this coming Friday if you're listening to it on Monday.
And I do have the ad up here, and the chat room says do a voice. Well, luckily, voices have been advised. We'll see how well this goes. Kegger Games, time of that year again, the crisp autumn air, the crunch of leaves under your feet as you mount your trusty steed. Oh, good times. Have I ever told you about the Kegger races we rode back when they first started? See, back then, we didn't complete for gold or points. No, sir. It was bragging rights that you survived only with a few broken bones. Getting a drake tooth or an orc head on the way was just a bonus prize. Ooh, yeah. Get ready, September 5th through the 11th. Ain't that not far away? Learn more at harnkeggergames.simplesite.com. That's harnkeggergames.simplesite.com. So, not the best voiceover, but there you go, chat room. The next one is an elf one, so we'll go into this one now. Oh my, those dwarves over in Lorlin are hosting another series of those beastly things they call games. Nothing but barbaric displays of uncultured hedonism and gluttony, if you ask me. Interesting. There are events that focus on balance and speed. I could certainly beat any dwarf with the grace of the elder on my side. Very well then. Look out, you odoriferous short folk. This elf will take the gold and the ladies. September 5th through the 11th, 2016. Learn more at harnkeggergames.simplesite.com. That's harnkeggergames.simplesite.com. So that happened.
Okay.
And we will have another ad the next 2 weeks, actually. So we'll have 2 more ads.
One from a hobbit.
One from a dwarf, since we already had a hobbit. I don't know if you remember. Yes, that voice Carv did was a hobbit line.
That
2
was a
weeks
hobbit?
ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, we will have a dwarven one to lead right into the games next week.
Then let's head to the LOTRO Academy on their August 2016 schedule changes. This is due to change in work schedule for Brannick, so he talks about the changes that will be done as a result of that.
And you guys actually moved over to the new schedule already.
Yes, we recorded one today, which will be released.
It's in the
Oh.
Mixler archive. We don't
Yeah.
actually know when it's going to be released yet.
Right, because normally we were releasing things, I believe, on Wednesdays, but
Yep.
who knows what the editing schedule is going to be like.
But anyway, there should be another episode of LOTRO Academy after school coming up real soon.
Right. So then let's head into Minas Tirith after the battle. Update 18.2.1.
Yes, Pineleaf, we actually kind of let something slip by as far as our in-depth news coverage. We didn't really talk about the fact that Turbine released another version of Minas Tirith. I don't even know how many there are at this point. But they added in another one without the Dawnless Day. And
Yay!
yes,
For 7 of them, I
thank
think.
goodness. This is the after the battle one we talked about earlier. And I'm not going to give spoilers, but there's a ton of amazing stuff that you will not want to miss from after the battle, as you can imagine, especially if you've read the books. And so I recommend going on the live servers after you've completed one part of the most, I think it's just after you completed the entire most recent book of the epic story, you're able to actually go into the after the battle version of Minas Tirith and be able to just look around at everything that's there. It's pretty crazy how they've redone the whole city pretty much. There are parts of the city you can't go to, but that's more than okay, because under the circumstances, part of the parts of the city would probably be blocked off just so they can better defend what's left. And so that does kind of make sense. And so anyway, it was pretty interesting, and if you're interested in not actually going in game and finding it, I did have a video on it that's linked in this article.
Then let's head into A Critter's Journey, number 37, A River of Stories and Forest Tales.
How has a
And-
title like this not happened already on Critter's Journey? That's an awesome title.
It's a weird one. It sounds like I think there's a river involved.
Just maybe, Pineleaf.
Yes, maybe. So let's then head into the staff. This apparently is from Tim. So does this mean just replacing his usual story this week on the
It's not a replacement for the family line, but it is related to the family line. I actually had to skim through it because I was wondering the same thing. It looks like
Maybe,
it's related to events that happened in the last installment of the family line.
or it's possible that Tim took our advice and just ended the family line without warning, like we joked about earlier, and has moved on to a new series. I'm guessing that's not the case, and the family line will still be going on, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But this was another great article by Tim. That's just fantastic story piece that's continuing the story, as Terry mentioned.
Then let's head into our weekend Lotro and see what we've been up to and ending. What were you doing this week?
Well, this week, I actually got a ton of people together and had them just basically lock Maven into a room and ask her a lot of questions.
Ah!
And I promise we didn't hurt Maven. Hopefully she'll be back to prove that she's not hurt by this event. But it was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot about Maven, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't even have any idea about Maven, and really enjoyed going through it, and it was just a lot of fun. We talked about topics I didn't expect to be talking about, and it was just a really fun interview. So highly recommend checking out Ask Maven Anything over on my YouTube channel. So, Terry, what have you been up to?
Well, this week I skirmished with Pineleaf.
Awesome.
Which it actually first it was really interesting because Pineleaf and I have characters that have been adventuring together on previous occasions, but this is the first time it was actually my main Terry over on Landreval, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. He got to see that when I... Oh, looks like we got a surprise. Go ahead, Maven.
Reporting
There's a chicken
live.
on the street reporting.
Reporting live from Middle-earth, we are now joined by the industrious Maven.
Chicken. The designated chicken running through the Barrow Downs. We're actually running through the Barrow Downs right now,
All right.
which is a little bit nervous making. I gotta say, it is more stressful to be a chicken than to be a chicken tender. I'm telling you.
Well,
it is
you want to be a chicken tender or a tender chicken?
a tender chicken. No, I don't want to be a tender chicken. Golly, not to the bar guests. No. And I'm running with Feedwick. If you guys know Feedwick, who is one of the girls of Middle Earth. And she lagged out, but it was very cool because like 2 or 3 of the tenders stuck with her and got her safely through. So we just left Tom Bombadil's house and we're on our way into Breeland. So we still have, I don't know, some ridiculous number of hours left. I think like we still have to go to Angmar and all kinds of places. So I will check in a little later with you guys.
Well, explain this event a little bit more, Maven, while you're here.
Oh, okay. So what this is this is the Crosser of Roads quest, and the wait a minute, yes, hold on, I'm getting a note from on the road here. Okay, yes, I've stayed connected. All right, we're good. So what you do is you go to Sanson's farm in Mickeldelving, and you talk to George the chicken. And you can become a chicken. You do chicken session play. I know several of you have done this. And there's a whole series of quests that you have to do as a chicken running around the Shire and Erdluine and Lone Lands and all kinds of places. And then then when you get done with that, you have 2 choices. You can do a quest that takes you to Minas Tirith, where you jump off the prow and you become the Lord or Lady of the Wings. Sorry, I laugh every time I say that. And then this one is actually called the Crosser of Roads quest, and you literally have to run around. Oh my gosh, we have been to the Shire, to Evendim, and in Evendim we had to go through a Numinous. And let's see, where else did we go? Trollshaws, up to this bitter stare in the Misty Mountains. I mean, they really make you do crazy things as a chicken, and you got to understand you are level 1 as everything is purple. So anyway, so now, so we have a group of folks who are protecting us, and there's 12 chickens, 12, and and so we're just like running around. And then they also have these nests around that are like ports. So you can port, like in Rivendell, they have a port that's right outside the gates there in Rivendell, and you can port. We port to Oatmartin, so it's between Oatmartin and Rivendell. So there's all these little ports. It's just weird. Anyhow, so, you know, anybody that doesn't know about this, it's like another thing you can do in LOTRO. Yay!
Awesome.
And
All
when
right.
you do the crossroad road, the flying the coop, which is the initial group of quests, they're separate quests. You get a really cool cloak of the cluck. So at least do that, so you get a really cool cosmetic. That's yellow, which I
Absolutely.
know Terry is a big fan of.
Mhm.
Okay, well I better go because now we're in Bree, and who knows what's going to happen in Bree. So I'll check back with you guys later.
All right.
Right.
That was our star reporter, Maven, out in the field, right outside of Bree, making her way in on chicken play, and tons of fun with that. And let's get on with the show.
So, Pineleaf, what have you been up to this week?
Right. On Arkenstone, I was in my usual groups this week during the field trip and with Sanswinda and company. And we started out by finishing up our quest that we're doing in Evendim, which included the closing out the treasure hunt and doing the giant related quests, and also finishing up the quests that lead up to the turtle instance, though we didn't have enough in order to actually do the turtle instance. So therefore, once we finished that, we decided that's going to be our stopping point for Evendim, because we all hit level 40, and level 40 it's starting to get a little high for Evendim, so we're thinking of hopping on to the Misties next time. But after we finished Evendim, I decided to introduce Sanswinda to a couple of skirmishes. First one is Thievery and Mischief, and the other one was the Icy Crevasse. And it was interesting trying to see how long we could survive in the Icy Crevasse. Usually things don't go too well the first time I run Icy Crevasse with the new group here, but we got through it all just fine and all survived, no deaths, and completed it on our first attempt. Yay!
Awesome.
And so let's head into news beyond LOTRO. And our Middle-earth video highlight for this week is a Hobbit drinking medley.
That's right, Pineleaf. People may have noticed that Middle-earth video highlights have kind of gone out, but there was a new video released recently by Peter Hollins, and it features Hank Green as well, which is another one of my favorite YouTubers, and they made together a Hobbit drinking melody song music video that's just super awesome, and highly, highly recommend it, and so I had to come back and feature it on
Alright.
Middle-earth video highlights.
So does that mean this is a crash course in Hobbit songs?
It's not Hank Green's normal material, but it is an awesome joint session between the two of them to make just these awesome songs together. So, highly recommended.
We currently have 28 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you could support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us here on LOTRO Players News. We don't have any featured comments this week, nor any emails, but if you'd like to email us, you can email us at podcast@LOTROPlayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Ending at Ending LP, Carvet at Carvet LP, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 5 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 9:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. On the last Saturday of each month at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Academy after school. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News, and every other Saturday after LOTRO Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk, which is starting its second season, is this?
That's
Tonight.
Right, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
You can join us for a live show at LOTROPlayers.com/live. Thank you everyone for listening. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.